I was struggling with procrastination for as long as I can remember, literally from the second I started school until around college. Right? In every aspect of my life, I was a procrastinator, and nothing really changed this until I went to college and decided to make a change. At school, I would put off almost every assignment, and I missed 99% of the homeworks that were given to me. I would never do them. I didn't think it was worth it. At home, I would put off chores as long as possible. And I was just never getting anything of value done. Right? I was basically just wasting my days going through biding my time. If you don't know me, my name is Andrew, and I turn young, ambitious men into focused, hard workers. And if you're serious about changing your life and how you approach work, then click the top two links in the description. The first is going to be to my personal coaching, and the second is going to be my free community, which will not be free for long, so get in while you can guarantee that for life. Now, because of my childhood tendencies, I decided enough was enough once I actually got to college. Right? It was time to be an adult and time to let go of my procrastinating ways, right? So I decided to research and binge and figure out every single possible way that I could defeat procrastination and actually become a hard worker. And through this process, I figured out by far and away the best method for defeating procrastination that I've come across. And it's only 3 steps that I've used to reclaim my time and my life back. Give this method a week and you will not be disappointed, I can guarantee. The first step in this easy method to defeating procrastination is figuring out your why factor. Right? If you have work and you want to get it done, but you just can't bring yourself to do it, and you haven't asked yourself why you're actually doing the work, then you're probably not in the right space to actually get that done. Right? Ask yourself, why do you need or want to get it done in the first place? Because if you really wanted to do it right now, like just from your heart, you would have done it. So there's another reason we're procrastinating. You need a strong why if you want to expect to get anything done. And that goes for everything in life. Right? Without a strong and a clear why, people won't do anything. You cannot expect an overweight dude to start going to the gym 4 days a week just because you said it'll be good for him. Right? He doesn't want to go, so you have to give him the reason to go. You have to give him that why. And the same thing is like you for your work. Usually the strongest whys are tied to emotions or something that will get out of it, right? And usually you just haven't tied something strong enough of either of these variables to your work and what the work means to you, right? If it's work that you really don't want to do, but it's for your job, right? You're getting paid for it. You have to relate it to that. You have to think every time you're going to do the work, I'm getting this done and I'm getting paid for it, all right? And in other fields, whether it's your own personal work or a side project, or it's just work that you actually kind of somewhat like for your job, but you're just procrastinating for whatever reason, the money's not an issue, then you have to tie an emotion to it, right? You have to figure out what you're benefiting from this work, what doing this work now gets you later, whether that simply just is free time, reduce stress because you're not thinking about this work that you're putting off all day. You've just gotten it out of the way and you're stress-free. Or whether there actually is some sort of big benefit that you get out of it. Like for me making these videos, the benefit I get is putting my thoughts out there, building a loyal audience of people that I actually love to engage with, and hopefully being able to help those people through clients. And it's just a wonderful process that makes me want to get up and do the work, right? That's my why. I do it for the interaction, for the ability to help people. And that's what I love about this. So your work, you have to relate something similar like that, that makes you want to actually go up and get after it. What is your why factor. Ask yourself why you are doing it and really try and search for a good answer. The second step is fixing your attention. And I don't mean like fixing your attention span, but I mean paying attention to where you're placing your attention and focus before doing the work. Because this is actually life changing if you think about it. No. A lot of people, myself included, for basically my entire life, I actually did this, is whenever it came to doing something, anything, I would think about the peak of discomfort unless it was something that I truly, truly loved. Like when I played hockey, I didn't think about the height of the discomfort because I just love to actually play it. But when it comes to work, right, a lot of people tend to visualize in their head that peak of boredom, that peak of stress, using all your mental strength and ability to try and get something done and try and get it done quickly. Right. And this is what we visualize in our heads when we think of work. But this gets us nowhere, right? And you might have a similar experience, right? I did this in the gym, right? In the beginning, when you start the gym, you don't think about the progress that you're making, how good it's going to feel to make the progress, the pump that you're going to get during the workout, right? You don't think about any of that. When starting in, you think about how sweaty you're going to get, how sore you're going to be, and how much pain you're going to be in putting your muscles through, right? That's where everybody starts. And that's why most people quit the gym, because they keep this concept of the gym, right? Every time I go into the gym now, I look forward to making progress. I look forward to getting into that better shape, and I look forward to actually just getting a good workout, getting a pump, and seeing the results in real time. Right? That's the mindset that allowed me to keep going to the gym. And the same thing here can be applied to your work. So if you're procrastinating on your work, the odds are is that you're placing way too much emphasis on the negative and almost giving no time to the positive. I remember when I used to procrastinate, I didn't even give a thought to the positive. I would never be like, oh, it'd be nice to get it off my plate. It'd probably reduce some of my stress and just free up my time. I would literally never even think of that. And that's just the most basic benefit of doing literally any work beforehand instead of procrastinating, right? Is to just free up your time and reduce your stress, right? That's a great benefit. But if you have a strong why factor, there should be more benefits to getting this work done that you can use and leverage to make you want to do the work more, or make it seem more reasonable and more worth it to go ahead and just get it done. You want to kind of live in the positive thoughts when you're thinking about procrastinating or putting it off again. You want to conjure up the positive mental image in your mind, right? Where you've completed the work, you have free time now, you actually feel accomplished, you were productive with your day, and now you just get to sit down and relax, right? Picturing that end result for literally anything is going to make it easier to do and make any task a lot more appealing to actually start, because starting is the hardest part. So visualize yourself after you've done the work, and from that relieved point of view before you actually go ahead and procrastinate, right? Just start the work and keep picturing that end point. The third step in this method goes a bit deeper, and that is working on your self-image. There's a good chance right now that if you procrastinate, you see yourself as someone who is a regular procrastinator, someone who's lazy but capable of doing the work, and somebody who just finds work generally boring, right? But these are all self-images that you've assigned to yourself, right? These are all concepts of yourself that you've latched onto based on your past, right? Based how you've acted in the past, based on how you've gone about work in the past. But none of these are solid or real, right? You're not limited in a box, right? Because there's no difference between you and the super, super hardworking billionaire individual, right? All the difference is that they have a different mindset when it comes to approaching work compared to you. But you have the same capabilities and mental faculties, right? There's no major difference between you. So because there's no major difference, you can work on changing these self-images that you have of yourself to match closer to that ideal individual, to that rich, successful, hardworking version of you, right? That ideal version. You can shift your identity in that direction by rejecting those negative self-images that you don't want to have anymore. So for you believing you're a procrastinator, every time you have a thought like, I just keep procrastinating, I can't break out of it, it's just who I am, you reject that and you say the opposite, right? Don't say you're a procrastinator, say you're a hard worker and you love to get work done on time, right? And just initially, this is not going to make a ginormous change in like 2 seconds. But what this is going to do is within honestly a matter of days, is it's going to start changing your concept of yourself, start changing how you view yourself. And you're going to go ahead and see that there's no reason that you can't be that hard worker. There's no reason that you can't be someone who does work immediately and loves it. So how do you actually do this, though, in an effective way so that you actually start seeing the results in a couple of days? Every time you're thinking of putting something off, or every time you say something like, I'll do it tomorrow, mentally just say no and say the opposite. Right? So I'll do it tomorrow becomes I'll do it right now. Right? There is no procrastination anymore because you're not a procrastinator. You're someone who does it right now. You're a hard worker who does it right now. Right? You have to reject those old thoughts that are playing out. Right? Those old thoughts about you being a procrastinator, being somebody who's lazy, being somebody who doesn't love the work. You have to reject all those thoughts whenever they come up and ingrain in your mind the opposite. In the beginning of this process, you are probably going to struggle a little bit, and that's because it requires self-discipline. But it should be a little easier than normal with those first 2 steps of the process and of the method, because they're already getting you thinking about changing how you approach work. So making this tweak of your self-image is all kind of in alignment with the first 2 steps of the method. But ultimately, right, you will have to exercise discipline and you'll have to actually go ahead and do the work. Right? You can't just say, I'm not a procrastinator, I'm a hard worker, and then still just procrastinate, sit down on the couch. Right? And you're not going to catch every single time that you think like this, because you probably think like this more than you would guess. Right? These thoughts probably pop up a couple times a day, especially when you think about work. So the more that you can catch them, right? Just catch at least one thought on the first day and just try and improve it. And the more you do it, the more you catch yourself and affirm the opposite, right? You say the opposite of that thought to yourself and take that as true. The more you do this, the more your self-image is going to change and the quicker it's going to change. If I tell myself 50 times in one day that I'm a hard worker, that I'm high energy, that I'm driven, I'm going to act a lot more like that than if I tell myself I'm a procrastinator and I'm lazy 50 times a day. Right? So if you're calling yourself lazy 50 times a day, catch that at least a couple times, right? Catch it a couple times and just say, no, I'm not. That's not who I am. And then act from that. And every time you act from that change is like solidifying it in your self-image. It's like a point on the scoreboard against that old version of yourself, right? You're past version of yourself and your self-image right now is all built up because the scoreboard of the past says, I procrastinate a lot more than I do the work. But when you say no, and I'm not lazy, I'm a hard worker, and then you do the work, it's like a point on the scoreboard for that new version of yourself, and it's pushing you closer to that version. All right, so start seeing yourself not as a procrastinator, but as high energy and productive, right? Not as lazy and not as somebody who hates work, but as somebody who loves their work and is a hard worker, right? Really change your self-concept here, and you will see tremendous change within a week. If you are able to figure out your why factor, right, why you're doing these things, and put emotion behind it, and you're able to focus on the positive aspects and feelings that come with getting the work done ahead of time, and then you all combine that with working on your self-image and changing how you actually view yourself when it comes to work, you are going to see a major shift and a major change in how much work you get done, how effective you are at work, and how little you actually procrastinate now. If you're serious about breaking through the blocks and the limits on your work and learning to work for hours with ease, then schedule a call with me where I'll help you with your unique situation. And in addition, you'll get a bonus video that is not released that is all about the hard-working mindset and is really in-depth on that. So if that's interesting to you, click the first link in the description and join my free community in the second link in the description. As always, if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and stay blessed.